When it comes to purchasing automobiles, we, like the manufacturers, are not delusional. We understand that not everyone will want to opt for the top of the line for two very good reasons. Number one is that sometimes you just don't need all that glitz and glitter. And number two, well, there's always going to be a budget to be thought about. Now, 4 years ago, my family and I purchased a top-of-the-line mid-size SUV for 2.1 million Philippine pesos, and we're still happy with it today. The question is, will that same amount of money bring you the same amount of satisfaction that we have today, what with all the current rises in inflation that we're currently experiencing? To find out, we've asked Ford Philippines for a lend-out of this, the next generation Everest. Now, unlike the 4x4 titanium that we did a pretty detailed walk-around of in Thailand, which I'm sure the links are up here or somewhere down below, this is the mid-tier variant. This is the 4x2 Sport. Oddly enough, it's also the exact same price that we paid for our top-of-the-line 4x4 4 years ago. And it's also close to the price of what the top-of-the-line Everest was 4 years ago. So the question is, can you still get everything that you really want from a mid-tier variant, which is this, the Sport, or has the rising rate of inflation and excise tax pretty much killed that dream? Let's find out.
Do you need help purchasing your car insurance? Head on over to AutoDeal.com.ph/car-insurance. Here, you can compare prices and customize your insurance coverage from many of the Philippines' top providers. When you've selected the insurance that's best for you, simply fill out the application and complete the transaction with ease through Visa, MasterCard, GCash, GrabPay, or PayPal, and receive your policy within the next business day. Get the best deal on insurance with AutoDeal.
Let's start at the heart of the matter, the engine, the major difference. So this is a 2-liter 4-cylinder single-turbo diesel engine that produces 168 horses and 405 Nm of torque, mated to a 6-speed automatic transmission. Now, inside the city, mixed traffic conditions will give you about 10.5 kilometers per liter, which is good. On the highway, about 17.5 kilometers per liter. So, truth be told, it's roughly about at par with the SUVs of not so long ago. Underneath is yet another major difference. This is a 4x2 system, not a 4x4. So obviously, it's devoid of a rear differential locking mechanism. So I will admit that a 4x4 and its capabilities will definitely trump a 4x2. No ifs, ands, and buts. However, I will also say that I've used my 4x4 SUV and its full capabilities all of once. And that was when we did a comparo against my Montero and an Okavango, just to show the difference of what each one can do. I'm sure that the links are somewhere up here or in the links down below. By the way, don't tell my wife about that. She still doesn't know. All I'm saying is that you should really know the difference whether you want a 4x4 system or need a 4x4 system. Because truthfully, that could cost you about 500,000 Philippine pesos. The color combination of certain badges and other body parts of the automobile are obviously different from that of the titanium, but aesthetically, it is almost similar. It's just that in the 4x4 titanium, there's a lot more chrome. Here, since it's a Sport, they've slapped on as much black as possible. From the roof rails, to the side mirrors, to the badges, to the wheels, to the front grille. But it's still quite similar to the 4x4 titanium because, well, the ground clearance is still exactly the same. The wheel sizes are exactly the same. The shape of the headlamps are exactly the same. Granted, they're not matrix LEDs, but they're LEDs nonetheless. And I gotta say, this color combination of black on what they call lightning blue, it is just marvelous. It's so pretty. Will people take offense if I try to lick this thing? I mean, I can't get even more sick than I already am, right?
Sick in the head is what you are.
Wow, I thought we were friends. Really? At the rear, I will admit that there is a convenience that is missing on the Sport, which is a power folding third row. Here, it's actually manual, if I can figure it out. Yes, there you go. But I will always submit to the fact that, dude, it's just folding of seats. I'm sure you can do it yourself. This is because it's not there. If it was there, I'd be happy with it. But anyway, two things, though, that I have to point out is that number one, it's still the exact amount of space as you would find in the titanium. So when you fold the third row and the second row, you will still be able to fit 1 little, 2 little, 3 little boxes, 4 little, 5 little. If you weren't singing with me just now, there's a good chance you'll probably be singing that song when you're alone with your own thoughts a little bit later after the video. Also, there is still a power door, which is cool. And then I want to talk about very briefly about the lights here at the rear. They're very unique. I like the way that they look right now. In fact, they sort of give you like an 80s Knight Rider-ish kind of a vibe. I'm just not 100% sure though how they will age. I'm not sure if they're gonna look good 5 years from now. Again, I can't tell. Only time will tell. Man, I gotta get some new words. Now, the third row, I gotta tell you, I did not experience this while I was doing the walk around in Thailand. And I wish I did, because I would have been able to tell you that, the difference if the backrest can actually go a little bit lower. I mean, you can tilt a little bit more or not, because here, I feel like I'm at a 90-degree angle. At least if you put the kids back here, you know, you never have to remind them about their posture, which I guess they do it this way so that it maximizes the amount of space that you have when the third row is up. But it's a little, oh my goodness, it's a very restricting. I feel like I'm back in school and they're telling us to sit up straight. Maybe for very short trips, but longer rides, yeah, this might get a strain on your lower back. Well, for the kids. Toys back here include, well, there are cup holders on either side, which is nice, and then you got one 12-volt socket found down here, and then it's nice too that you have air vents. This light does turn on, so that's pretty cute, and of course, 3-point seat belts. But yeah, this is a bit. That's straight. In the second row, the seats are soft, they're giving, and not that much supportive or like bolstered is what I'm trying to say, which is good, because that means you can slide in and out very, very easily. It's also a bench, so it's flat, and then it's on rails, so you can give more room for the people at the back. The leather could have used a little bit more help. This kind of feels a little durable. Okay, it's leather nonetheless, yeah, but it does feel a little durable. Toys back here include a center armrest with 2 cup holders that can hold round bottles. I say round bottles because you do have bottle holders on either door, which can definitely fit soft bottles such as this. And even, Jack, can I borrow that blue bottle right there? Even harder bottles such as this of this size. But since it's square, I don't think it's going to fit Jack's very large yellow bottle that I'm sure that you guys have seen in other videos. So, but I guess it's sufficient. And then you have additional stuff up front. You don't have temperature controls, but you do have air controls, and then you're limited to a Type C and a Type A charging point. I say limited because the titanium obviously has a little bit more, but it's not that it's lacking, it's actually sufficient for what it is. It's not bad, except maybe for the fact that there's square bottle holders. That's really weird. Now up front is where you will find other major changes, as you would see, differences, not changes, differences. For instance, number one is that you will notice that instead of a 12-inch screen, you're limited to a 10-inch screen. It's odd though that I say limited to a 10-inch screen because it's still one of the largest infotainment screens that you will get in the market that isn't an electric vehicle. It's still very, very impressive. You still get a digital instrument cluster, buttons on your steering wheel, lots of cubby holes. The same cubby holes, in fact, up front. There's one up here and then one down here. Similar to the titanium. Obviously, you won't have a 4x4 system or drive modes because it is a 4x2, not a 4x4 system. The other differences is that you will note also that there are a lot of driver aids and safety equipment that is not found in the lower tier models, especially the Sport. Instances like there are no blind spot monitors, or the cruise control. You do have cruise control, but it's not adaptive. And then there's several other features that we will not find in this car. If you would like a complete list, however, do visit our website, AutoDeal.com.ph, and then try our comparison tool to figure out what other differences that you will find between each model, and I'm sure we'll have it all there for you. The big question though is, since it's devoid of all of that, how does it drive? Well, that we're going to answer right now. But before we do consider liking this video if you deem it's fit for it, and also do consider also subscribing to our channel, because we love creating our videos just for you guys. Having driven the bi-turbo 4x4 in Thailand and comparing it to this, the single turbo, I can tell you that yes, there's definitely a difference. You're talking about 95 Newton meters of torque, so the pull definitely will be different. But there is absolutely nothing wrong with what you've got here in the Sport. Think of this engine as a banana split. You've got a banana, you've got great creamy ice cream, and then you've got some chocolate syrup all over it, whipped cream. You can even add a couple of nuts like me and Jack. So it's very, very fulfilling and sufficient. The bi-turbo is quite literally the cherry on top. So what I'm trying to get at is that this engine will not leave you wanting. And it's fuel efficient too. Yes, granted, the 4x4 bi-turbo does have 2 more gears, so it's got longer legs. But hey, as I previously mentioned, inside the city, this thing is doing about 10.5, and on the highway, you're doing 17.5. So, man, that's not bad, man. The steering is, well, I gotta say, it's classic Ford. It's extremely light and very, very easy to maneuver when it comes to either tight city roads or on the highway. I must add, though, that it feels like it has gotten ever so slightly heavier. Not in a bad way at all, in a good way, because now, even more so, I really do feel like I'm connected to the road. NVH is still, I don't want to use the word superior, it's still good. It's not as quiet or as comfortable or as smooth as, let's say, for example, the Explorer. This is, after all, still a ladder frame SUV. That being said, though, it's still as tame and as behaved and as quiet as the previous generation, if it hasn't improved ever so slightly. And even though, like the previous generation, you are on 20-inch wheels, it's still very quiet. Before I went on my trip to Thailand, the managing director of Ford Philippines, Mr. Mike Breen, told me to look out for ride and handling inside the automobile. And truth be told, yes, it has improved a little bit. That's also because that the car is a yay wider and yay longer by 50 millimeters. So, yay, ever so slightly. Good grief, Jack. Can you stop interrupting me? Anyway, he said that yes, it is a little bit wider, a little bit longer, and it has improved stability on the road, and which it does. You can feel it. So it is better, but I gotta say, don't expect it all of a sudden to have the same suspension as, let's say, for example, the Explorer. You cannot compare this to a crossover. This is still a ladder frame SUV, right? That being said, it's still actually pretty darn quiet. The NVH is actually darn good, even though you are, like the previous generation, on 20-inch wheels. Also, I must add that I've pointed out in the previous generation, you could hear the engine quite well from inside the cabin. Here, I'd say it's been reduced quite a lot. And it's no slouch either, because 50 to 100 is, check this out, 3, 2, 1. And stop. What'd you get? 7.2 seconds. Hey. Now, I don't know if this counts for anything, but I like the fact that the start-stop button is nowhere near anywhere here in the gear shifter or on the dashboard or like in my SUV, like on the left-hand side. It's right here with the key.
Don't push it.
Dude, that's twice. Stop interrupting me. I'm not gonna push it. Shh, be silent. I'm gonna introduce you to the backside of my hand at 50 kilometers per hour, boy. So anyway, it's right here. In comparison, at a glance, it's very similar to the titanium. In fact, some may even argue that this color combination probably suits more potential buyers than the titanium itself. The price difference, however, is definitely warranted. I mean, you're talking about driver aids, a 4x4 system, and better interior quality. Now, in comparison with my older 4-year-old SUV, which was the top of the line, which was the same price back then, I would have been happy with what this is right now. The next generation Ford has got a lot going for it, none different for this sport trim model. I mean, ride and handling have improved, the touchscreen inside is standard, and who can deny, it's a great looking truck. If you are really honest with yourself and you don't need a 4x4 system, then there's actually a lot that this mid-trim model will return to you. And that's not even including the 500,000 Philippine pesos back into your pocket. 1 little, 2 little, 3 little boxes.